The Deep Space Monitoring Station on Europa was usually quiet during the night shift. Most of the crew were either sleeping or doing routine checks of their equipment. But on this particular night, everything changed. Jack Wilson sat at his monitoring station, sipping his third cup of coffee when the alert came. At first, he thought it was just another space rock or a random energy burst from Jupiter. But as he looked closer at the readings, his eyes widened. "Sir," he called out to his supervisor, "you need to see this." Station Chief Robert walked over, looking slightly annoyed at being disturbed. But when he saw the energy patterns on the screen, his expression changed completely. The readings showed massive energy signatures, unlike anything they had ever seen before. Within minutes, the quiet station turned into a hub of activity. The patterns weren't random. They were structured, organized, and definitely not natural. More importantly, they showed signs of distress. "Get me Earth Space Rescue, now," Robert ordered, his voice tight with urgency. 200 million kilometers away, Captain Tom Baker of the Earth Space Rescue vessel, Horizon, was preparing for his usual patrol when the emergency call came through. He was a tall man with graying hair and eyes that had seen countless rescue missions, but nothing like this. "Captain Baker, this is Europa Station," the message began. "We have a code red situation. Multiple unknown vessels detected in Sector 7, showing signs of severe distress. Energy signatures are, well, they're not human, sir." Tom's heart raced, but his voice remained calm. "Understood, Europa Station. Horizon is ready for deployment. Send us the coordinates." The next few hours were a blur of activity. The Horizon, along with 5 other rescue ships, pushed their engines to maximum safe speed. As they approached the coordinates, what they saw left everyone speechless. Hundreds of ships, each bigger than anything humans had ever built, were caught in what looked like a storm made of light. The vessels were elegant, with smooth curves and surfaces that seemed to shimmer even in distress. But many were damaged, their hulls crackling with strange energy. "This is Captain Tom Baker of Earth Space Rescue," Tom broadcast on all frequencies. "We are here to help. Please respond if you can receive this message." For several tense minutes, there was only static. Then, suddenly, their screens lit up with a response. The universal translator worked overtime, converting alien language patterns into something they could understand. "Earth vessel, this is Fleet Commander Ray," came the reply. The voice was clearly artificial, but carried a tone of both relief and worry. We did not expect to find anyone in this sector of space. Our fleet carries 50,000 civilians. We are trapped in what you might call a quantum storm. Our drive systems are failing, and we cannot break free." Tom looked at his crew, seeing the same determination in their eyes that he felt. This wasn't just a rescue mission anymore. This was humanity's first contact with an alien civilization, and they were in trouble. "Fleet Commander," Tom responded, "we may not have your level of technology, but Earth Space Rescue has never failed a mission. We'll find a way to help you. Can you tell us more about your situation?" As Ray explained, they learned the fleet was carrying refugees from a dying star system. They had been traveling for what would be equivalent to 3 Earth years when they encountered the quantum storm. Their advanced drives, which could bend space itself, had malfunctioned in ways their scientists didn't understand. "Our biggest concern," Ray continued, "is that several of our ships are beginning to experience cascade failures in their life support systems. We have many children aboard those vessels." Tom's jaw tightened. He had saved stranded ships before, but never anything on this scale. Never with alien technology he didn't understand. But when he looked at the massive fleet of ships full of families and children, he knew failure wasn't an option. "Commander Ray," he said firmly, "I'm calling in every rescue ship Earth has. We'll get your people out of this storm. You have my word." As Tom sent the emergency call back to Earth, he could already see more rescue ships appearing on his long-range sensors. Humanity's greatest rescue operation was about to begin, and the whole universe would learn what humans could do when lives were on the line. The news of the stranded alien fleet spread across Earth like wildfire. Within 6 hours of Captain Tom's report, the Space Rescue Coalition gathered in their emergency headquarters beneath the Rocky Mountains. The huge underground room was filled with the world's best minds in space rescue operations. Director Mary stood at the front of the room, her face illuminated by the massive screen showing the trapped alien fleet. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, "we're looking at the biggest rescue operation in human history. 50,000 lives are at stake." The room burst into discussion as engineers and rescue specialists studied the data streaming in from the horizon and other rescue ships. The alien vessel's technology was far beyond anything humans had created, but that didn't stop Earth's engineers from trying to understand it. "Look at these energy readings," said Bill, the head engineer, pointing at complex patterns on his tablet. "Their ships don't just move through space, they bend it. But something in that quantum storm is making their systems go haywire." Commander Jane White, who had led some of Earth's most difficult space rescue missions, stepped forward. "Then we do what humans do best," she said firmly. "We improvise." The next few hours were a blur of activity. Earth launched every available rescue ship. Mining vessels were converted into emergency power stations. Even space tourism ships were recruited to carry extra supplies and equipment. Commander Jane organized joint teams of human and alien engineers. At first, the aliens were doubtful. Their technology was centuries ahead of Earth's. How could these primitive humans help? But they quickly learned that humans had something special: the ability to think outside the box. "Your systems are too advanced," Jane explained to a group of alien engineers. Their translator turned her words into musical tones they could understand. "They're trying to solve this with complex solutions. Sometimes the simplest answer is the best one." To demonstrate, she showed them how Earth's ships used basic magnetic towing beams, technology the aliens saw as outdated. But unlike their advanced gravity manipulators, these simple devices weren't affected by the quantum storm. The situation became more urgent when reports came in from the alien ships. Life support systems were failing on the outer vessels. The quantum storm was getting worse, its strange energies disrupting even the backup systems. "We need to act fast," Director Mary announced to the gathered teams. "Commander Jane, you have full authority. Whatever resources you need, they're yours." Jane looked at her mixed team of human and alien engineers. "We'll split into groups," she said. "Bill, take Team 1 and work on power distribution. Tom, your ships will test the magnetic towing systems, and I want constant communication between all teams, human and alien." The aliens watched in amazement as the humans got to work. They had expected a bureaucratic response, lengthy discussions, and careful planning. Instead, they saw quick decisions, immediate action, and a willingness to try anything that might work. An alien engineer named Ray approached Jane with a question that had been bothering him. "Your species has only been in space for such a short time," he said through the translator. "How can you be so confident?" Jane smiled as she watched her teams working together, humans and aliens side by side. "Because this is what we do," she replied. "On Earth, we've been doing rescue operations for as long as we've existed. In mountains, in oceans, in deserts, and now in space. When lives are at stake, humans don't give up." Just then, Bill rushed into the command center, his face excited. "Commander, we found something." He held up a diagram showing how their primitive power distribution systems could be modified to help stabilize the alien life support. "It's not elegant," he admitted, "but it should work." Jane looked at Ray, whose translator was struggling to convey his expression of surprise. "That's another thing about humans," she said. "We don't care if it's elegant, as long as it works." As the rescue operation began to take shape, news came from the fleet. The first alien ship's life support was about to fail. They had less than 12 hours to put their plans into action. The real test of humanity's ingenuity was about to begin. Time was running out. In the engine room of the rescue ship Horizon, Bill and his team worked frantically to connect their power systems to the first alien vessel. Sweat dripped from their foreheads as they wrestled with equipment never designed to work together. Careful with those connections, Bill called out to his team. One wrong move and we'll fry both ships' systems. He watched the power readings on his tablet, numbers flickering wildly as they attempted to stabilize the alien ship's life support. Through the viewing window, the quantum storm raged stronger than ever. Its purple and blue energies crackled across space like lightning, making the work even more dangerous. 2 human rescue ships had already suffered damage trying to reach the stranded alien vessels. Suddenly, Bill's tablet lit up with new readings. "Wait a minute," he muttered, studying the data. "This can't be right." He called over Ray, the alien engineer who had been watching their work with growing interest. "Look at this," Bill said, pointing to the screen. "Your ship's systems, they're adapting to our power input. They're learning from our technology." Ray's translator hummed as he examined the readings. "Impossible," he said. "Our systems are far too advanced to." He stopped mid-sentence, his eyes widening as he watched the numbers stabilize. "Sometimes," Bill grinned, "being advanced means being too complicated. Your systems are trying to solve this with quantum mathematics. Ours just brute force it with good old-fashioned electricity." The news spread quickly through the fleet. The humans' primitive technology wasn't just compatible with the alien systems. In some ways, it worked better. Their simpler, more robust systems could handle the quantum storm's interference in ways the alien technology couldn't. On the bridge of the Horizon, Captain Tom received the first good news since the rescue operation began. "Life support stabilized on Vessel 1, came Bill's excited voice over the comm. "We can save these ships." But their victory was short-lived. The quantum storm suddenly intensified, its energy tendrils whipping through space with new fury. Alarms blared across both human and alien ships as the storm's power grew. Multiple hull breaches detected. Someone shouted, "The storm's getting stronger." Through the chaos, an alien child's voice came over the emergency channel. Her translator had trouble with the young voice, but the fear was clear. The child's family was trapped in a section of their ship that was losing air. Without hesitation, Tom made his decision. "Suit up," he ordered his rescue team. "We're going in." The spacewalk was dangerous. The quantum storm's energy made their suits' shields flicker and spark. But the rescue team pushed forward, crossing the gap between ships using simple tether lines. Technology that hadn't changed much since humans first went to space. They found the alien family huddled in a sealed compartment, air running low. The alien child stared in wonder at the human rescuers in their bulky suits, so different from their own sleek technology. Getting them out wasn't easy. The human suits weren't designed for alien bodies, but they managed, using emergency air supplies and quick thinking to get everyone to safety. Back on the Horizon, as the medical team checked the rescued aliens, something unexpected happened. The alien child's mother, a medical officer on their ship, noticed something about human biology that caught her attention. "Your bodies," she said through the translator, "they heal differently than ours. Faster, more adaptable." She shared her scans with the human medical team, showing how human cells responded to the quantum storm's radiation in ways their own bodies couldn't. This discovery led to another breakthrough. If human biology could adapt to the storm's effects, maybe their technology could too. The engineering teams began working on a new idea, using the principles of human cellular adaptation to modify their rescue ship shields. As they worked, more human rescue ships arrived from Earth. They formed a protective line between the alien fleet and the worst of the storm, their simpler shields holding steady where advanced alien protection had failed. Looking out at the scene, human ships protecting alien vessels, teams working together, barriers of species and technology breaking down. Captain Tom felt a surge of pride. Against all odds, they were making progress. But as the quantum storm continued to grow, he knew their biggest challenges still lay ahead. The warning came without notice. Deep inside the alien flagship, power systems began to fail one after another. Red emergency lights flashed through corridors as 50,000 lives hung in the balance. Main power core destabilizing. The alien crew's panicked messages translated into human communication systems. Backup systems not responding. On the bridge of the horizon, Captain Tom's face went pale. The flagship was the size of a small city. If it lost power completely, the death toll would be catastrophic. He grabbed the communication system. All rescue ships. This is Captain Tom. Emergency Protocol 7. I repeat, Emergency Protocol 7. Across space, human rescue ships sprang into action. They had drilled for this, though never at this scale. Earth's largest space mining vessels, converted for rescue operations, powered up their industrial-strength generators. Bill, now working from the flagship's engine room with a mixed team of human and alien engineers, fought to understand the failing systems. The quantum storm's radiation change. He shouted over the noise of failing machinery. It's affecting their power core in ways we've never seen. The massive ship's lights flickered and dimmed. Life support started failing deck by deck. In the medical bay, alien children huddled together as emergency force fields struggled to maintain atmosphere. We need more power. Bill's voice cracked with stress. The mining ship generators aren't enough. That's when Ted, a young mining engineer, spoke up. He'd been quiet until now, studying the alien power systems while others worked. What if we don't need more power? He said. What if we need less? Everyone turned to look at him. Ted pointed to his tablet, showing a diagram he'd drawn. Their power core is too complex. It's trying to compensate for the storm's interference by becoming even more complex. But what if we made it simpler? The alien engineers looked shocked. Making their advanced systems simpler seemed like going backward. But they had learned to trust human intuition. Explain, said the alien chief engineer through the translator. Ted's hands shook with excitement as he drew more diagrams. We shut down the quantum compensation systems, all of them. Run the power core like an old Earth nuclear reactor. Simple fission, simple power distribution. That's crazy, someone shouted. Their technology doesn't work that way. Exactly, Ted replied. Their technology is fighting the storm. Let's stop fighting. Simple systems, remember. Like how our ship shields are holding better than theirs. Bill studied the diagrams. A slow smile spread across his face. The kid's right. It's so simple it might actually work. They had no time for lengthy discussions. The flagship's power core was approaching critical failure. Captain Tom gave the order. Do it. What followed was the most dangerous engineering operation any of them had ever attempted. Human and alien engineers worked side by side, manually shutting down advanced systems that had run the ship for years. Ted directed them, his mining experience with simple power systems proving invaluable. The power core's warning sirens grew louder. Decks continued losing atmosphere. Emergency teams rushed through corridors, evacuating aliens to safer areas. Every human rescue ship moved closer, ready to take on evacuees if the plan failed. Core stability at 12%. Someone called out. 11, 10. Ted's hands flew across the control panel, making final adjustments. Almost there. Almost. The flagship shuddered. For one terrifying moment, everything went dark. Then, slowly, lights began coming back on. Not the usual bright, advanced lighting systems, but simple emergency lights. The core's warning sirens quieted. Power core stabilizing. The alien computer announced. Basic functions restored. A cheer went up from the engineering team. The flagship wasn't running at full capacity, but it was running. 50,000 lives had been saved by making advanced technology less advanced. In the days that followed, they applied Ted's solution to other ships in the fleet. It wasn't elegant. The aliens had to give up many of their advanced systems, but it worked. The fleet could maintain life support and basic functions even as the quantum storm raged around them. But their troubles weren't over. The storm was still growing stronger, and they needed to find a way out. As Captain Tom looked at the sensor readings, he knew they were running out of time. The real test of human ingenuity still lay ahead. Ted's solution had given them time, but the quantum storm was growing stronger every hour. In the Horizon's main conference room, human and alien leaders gathered around a holographic display of the storm. The storm's energy patterns are changing, Fleet Commander Ray said, pointing to swirling purple masses in the display. It's becoming more organized, almost like it's alive. Captain Tom rubbed his tired eyes. They'd been working non-stop for days. If it's becoming organized, there must be a pattern we can use. He turned to Bill. How are the shield modifications coming along? Bill pulled up new data on the display. That's the strange thing, he said. Our basic shields are still holding better than the aliens' quantum shields. We've been trying to figure out why. At that moment, Ted burst into the room, nearly tripping over his own feet in excitement. I know why, he exclaimed. Sorry for interrupting, but look at this. He connected his tablet to the display. The screen filled with two different wave patterns. The top one is the alien shields trying to block the storm, Ted explained. The bottom one is our shields. See the difference? The alien engineers leaned forward, their eyes widening as they understood. Through the translator, one of them spoke. Your shields don't try to block the storm. They flow with it. Ted nodded eagerly. Exactly. Your advanced shields try to create a perfect barrier. Ours just try to deflect the worst of it, like a boat riding ocean waves. Fleet Commander Ray studied the patterns carefully. This changes everything we thought we knew about quantum storms. He pressed some buttons on his translator, bringing up ancient data. In our history, there are legends of ships that survived quantum storms by dancing with the light. We always thought they were just stories. Captain Tom stood up straighter. They weren't stories. Those ancient ships probably had simpler shields like ours. He turned to the gathered engineers. Can we modify the alien ships to use our shield pattern? Better than that, Ted said. We can link them together. Create a network of shields that all flow with the storm's energy instead of fighting it. The next 12 hours were a blur of activity. Human and alien engineering teams worked together, linking shield systems across hundreds of ships. They used simple Earth networking technology, something the aliens had long ago replaced with quantum communication. As they worked, Fleet Commander Ray shared more information about quantum storms. They're not random, he explained to Captain Tom. They form around gravity anomalies in space. If we could understand their pattern, we might find a way out, Tom finished. He called over to Ted, who was busy coordinating shield modifications. Ted, can you use our shield data to map the storm's flow? Ted's eyes lit up, like watching currents in a river. Yes, if we track how our shields are deflecting the energy, we can see where the storm is weakest. The combined human-alien team began collecting data from every ship's shields. Slowly, a pattern emerged in the holographic display. The storm wasn't just random energy. It had currents, flows, and calmer areas. There, Bill pointed to an area where the purple energy swirled less intensely. The storm's weaker there, if we time it right. We could get the fleet through, Tom finished. He looked at Fleet Commander Ray. But we'll need every ship's shields working together, moving in perfect sync. Ray's translator hummed as he responded. My people didn't believe humans could help us at first. We thought your technology was too primitive. He made a gesture that the translator said meant deep respect. We were wrong. Your simple solutions have saved us again and again. Tom smiled. Sometimes the best answer is the simple one. He turned to the rest of the room. Let's get to work. We have a fleet to save. As the teams rushed to implement their plan, the quantum storm raged stronger than ever outside. But for the first time since the crisis began, they had more than just hope. They had a real chance to save everyone. The next few hours would prove whether humanity's greatest rescue mission would succeed or fail. The moment of truth had arrived. 300 alien ships, their systems modified with human technology, waited in formation. The quantum storm swirled around them, its purple energy more violent than ever. Captain Tom stood on the horizon's bridge, looking at the massive fleet on his view screen. "All ships, report status," he commanded. One by one, the rescue ships responded. Each had taken position around the alien fleet, their simple shields linked together to create a protective bubble. Ted's plan was ready to be tested. "Remember," Tom's voice carried across all channels, "we move as one, like a school of fish swimming through rough waters." He looked at Fleet Commander Ray, who stood beside him. "Are your people ready?" Ray nodded, his translator glowing as he spoke. "We trust you, Captain. Lead the way." Tom took a deep breath. "All ships, power up shield network. Begin synchronized movement on my mark." He watched the storm patterns on his screen, waiting for the right moment. The gap they'd found in the storm wouldn't last long. 3, 2, 1, mark. The entire fleet began to move as one massive unit. Human rescue ships led the way, their shields parting the storm's energy like boats cutting through waves. Behind them, the alien vessels followed in perfect formation, their modified shields working in harmony with the human design. At first, everything went smoothly. The fleet moved through the storm's currents just as Ted had predicted. But halfway through their escape route, disaster struck. Energy spike. Bill's voice crackled over the comm. "The storm's patterns are changing." A massive surge of quantum energy rolled toward the fleet like a tidal wave. Several alien ships at the back of the formation began to drift out of position, shields failing on vessels 7 and 12. Someone shouted, "They're being pulled into the storm." Without hesitation, Tom made his decision. "Rescue ships 3 and 4, break formation. Get those vessels back in line." He knew breaking the shield network was dangerous, but they couldn't leave anyone behind. The rescue ships moved with precision, born from years of experience. Using their magnetic towing beams, they grabbed the drifting alien vessels and pulled them back into formation. But the storm wasn't done with them yet. Another energy wave hit, bigger than the first. Warning alarms blared across every ship as the shield network strained to its limits. "The gap is closing." Ted's voice was urgent. "Captain, we need more power to the forward shields." Tom looked at his engine readings. They were already at maximum. Then he remembered something Ray had said about the old stories. Ships that danced with the light. "All ships, cut main engines," he ordered. "What?" Several voices responded in shock. "Trust me. Cut engines and redirect all power to shields. Don't fight the storm. Let it carry us." One by one, the ships cut their engines. For a terrifying moment, the entire fleet drifted, carried by the storm's currents. The purple energy swirled around them, but instead of fighting it, their shields now moved with it. "It's working," Ted shouted. "The storm's energy is pushing us through." Like leaves caught in a wind current, the fleet moved through the gap in the storm. Human rescue ships stayed in formation, their shields protecting the alien vessels as they rode the quantum currents. The last part of their journey was the most dangerous. The gap was closing fast, and the last few ships barely made it through. One rescue ship's shields failed completely, but 2 others quickly moved to protect it. Then, suddenly, they were through. The purple energy of the storm swirled behind them, but ahead was clear space. They had made it. Cheers erupted across every ship, human and alien alike. The impossible had been accomplished. Through human ingenuity, alien technology, and perfect cooperation, they had saved the entire fleet. As the celebration continued, Captain Tom looked at his crew with pride. Then he turned to Fleet Commander Ray. "Well, Commander, would you like an escort to the nearest safe port?" Ray's translator took a moment to process his response, but his gesture of deep respect needed no translation. "Captain," He said, "I believe this is the beginning of a very interesting friendship between our peoples." 1 month after the Great Escape, Mars Colony's viewing dome was packed with humans and aliens alike. The Earth Space Rescue Coalition had gathered for a historic ceremony, and Fleet Commander Ray stood at the podium, addressing the mixed crowd. When our fleet first encountered the quantum storm, Ray's translator conveyed his words. "We thought we were doomed. Our advanced technology, which we were so proud of, failed us completely." He paused, looking at the human rescue teams in the front row. Then we met humanity. In the audience, Captain Tom sat next to Ted, both wearing their formal uniforms. The young engineer who had helped save the fleet was now a hero to both species. Next to them, Bill nodded as Ray continued speaking. "These humans," Ray gestured to the rescue teams, "showed us something we had forgotten. Sometimes the simplest solution is the best one." Their primitive technology saved 50,000 lives. The temporary alien settlement on Mars had grown quickly over the past month. Dome-like structures mixed with human architecture, creating a unique skyline that represented both cultures. In orbit, alien ships floated alongside human vessels, their crews working together to establish permanent communication systems. But more than their technology, Ray continued, humans showed us their spirit, their determination to help strangers, their refusal to give up, and their ability to think in ways we never considered. These qualities make them unique among all the species we have encountered. In the back of the room, Ted's solution for surviving the quantum storm was being studied by mixed teams of human and alien scientists. The aliens had already shared their medical knowledge, helping human doctors make breakthroughs in treating several diseases. It was a fair exchange. Human ingenuity for alien advanced knowledge. Therefore, Ray's translator hummed with emphasis, "We propose a permanent alliance between our peoples. We offer our advanced technology, our medical knowledge, and our understanding of space. In return, we ask to learn from humanity's unique approach to problem solving, their rescue techniques, and their remarkable ability to find simple solutions to complex problems." The Earth Council members present nodded in agreement. The success of the rescue mission had opened new possibilities for both species. Already, plans were being made for joint rescue operations in deep space. Tom remembered something Ray had told him during the rescue. "Your people don't just save lives. You make others believe in the impossible." Now, looking at the mixed crowd of humans and aliens working together, he saw how true those words were. Ray raised his hand in a formal gesture. "To mark this new beginning, we announce the formation of the Interstellar Rescue Corps, a joint organization dedicated to saving lives across the galaxy, and we request that Earth Space Rescue lead this initiative." The crowd erupted in applause. In the month since the rescue, 3 other alien species had contacted Earth, interested in learning human rescue techniques. The galaxy was beginning to see humanity in a new light, not as a primitive species, but as master problem solvers and rescuers. After the ceremony, Tom found himself standing with Ted and Bill on one of Mars Colony's observation decks. They watched as human construction ships worked alongside alien vessels, building the new headquarters of the Interstellar Rescue Corps. "Did you ever think," Ted asked, looking at the construction, "that making things simpler would lead to all this?" Bill laughed. "That's humanity's secret weapon, kid. We don't overthink things. We just help where we can, with whatever tools we have." Tom smiled as he saw a group of alien children playing with human kids in the colony's park dome. They were using simple building blocks, another human invention that the aliens had found fascinating. The children didn't care about technological differences. They just enjoyed creating things together. "You know what this means," Tom said, watching the children play. "This is just the beginning. There's a whole galaxy out there, and sometimes it needs a simple solution to a complex problem." As the sun set on Mars, casting an orange glow through the dome, the first graduating class of the Interstellar Rescue Corps, human and alien together, began their training. Earth's greatest rescue had led to something even greater, a future where different species work together, combining advanced technology with simple human ingenuity. And somewhere in deep space, other ships would need help. But now they wouldn't face their troubles alone. Because if there's one thing humanity had proved, it's that no rescue was impossible when people worked together, no matter what planet they called home.